What's up, everybody? Welcome to SLC Puck! You know what I'm going to do right now? In sort of a loving tribute for Dylan Guenther. By the way, my name is Austin Facer. Thank you for tuning into SLC Puck. But Dylan Guenther's kind of been on my mind. He's been on my mind so much, I forgot to introduce myself as the host of this show. That's how much he's been on my mind. The reason is because he's been ruled out with a lower body injury for an indefinite amount of time. That's going to have a big impact on the Utah Hockey Club. It already has. They've been without him in the last 2 games. Offense has struggled a little bit. He's missed, and I miss him. And so this goes out to you, Dylan, putting on the sunglasses here, taking a bite out of a double chunk chocolate chip cookie here from Costco. That brings the boom. We love it. And we love you too, Dylan. There's a lot of people at Costco who love and care about you, Dylan. We'll get into that in just a second. But also on today's agenda, we're going to talk Connor Ingram's return from injury. We thought it was injury. It wasn't an injury after all. And we'll go a little bit through the midseason report card and give out some midseason awards. I wrote a little blog up on slcpuck.com, which you guys should definitely check out, where I graded the team so far into their inaugural season. What the grade is, I'm not going to tell you here. You got to read it to find out. That's called a tease, folks. That's why they pay me the big bucks. And you can pay me the big bucks, too, by heading to slcpuck.shop, buying some great merch. Look at all this great stuff here. We got hoodies, beanies, hats, t-shirts, buttons, pieces of flair, stickers, lots of great stuff. It's all priced at cost, so go ahead and check it out. And you can make a donation to the show as well when you check out. And those are loved and appreciated. And I send a thank you video to everybody who buys something from slcpuck.shop. And so you could argue that that might be more valuable than the merch itself, is a little personalized thank you from yours truly, Austin Facer. So anyway, big thanks to you guys on that. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as well. But let's jump right into today's show. And what we need to talk about since we last spoke, Utah Hockey Club's played a couple games. They've won one. They've lost another. They were games that like weirdly mirrored each other in certain aspects. And what I mean by that is that their first game that I'm referring to since we last spoke was a 2-1 win over the Sharks, followed by a 2-1 loss to the New York Islanders. And again, these were sort of like mirror images of each other, because in both instances, it was tied 1-1 going into the last couple minutes. The first game, the Utah Hockey Club comes away with the win, gets a goal right there at the end. But then the second instance against the Islanders, they give up the goal to lose 2-1. So far into the 7-game homestand, they've got a 1-2 record. I know we've talked about how this could be a critical inflection point for this team. They're trying to sneak their way back into the playoff race. Really, like kind of critical, kind of a bummer that they lost to the Islanders the other night. Actually, we're talking to you guys on Sunday, January 12th. That Islanders game was last night on Saturday. And that was a really great opportunity to pick up a couple points in the standings against one of the worst teams in the NHL. And we'll just hop into the standings right here so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. So right here are the standings. We can see in the Eastern Conference, the conference in which Utah isn't. The Islanders are among the worst. They're tied for last place in the Metropolitan Division in the Eastern Conference. We scroll down here, we see the Utah Hockey Club. They're in 6th place in the Central Division, 43 points. That's a critical number. Remember that, 43, right? Let's hop over to the wild card chase here. We can see that the Vancouver Canucks right there in that last spot with 48 points. Utah, they're separating themselves a little bit from Utah now each and every time. Utah with 43 is now 3 spots out of that last place. So, and remember, just a reminder, the NHL playoffs, 2 conferences, 2 divisions in each conference. Top 3 are in, and then 2 wildcard teams after that. So right now, Utah is 3 spots out of that last playoff position. So that was a really critical loss. That win, what would have been a win over the Islanders, would have given them 45 points. That would have put them ahead of the Blues. I believe they lost last night as well. So kind of a bummer. They can't afford to lose too many more of these, especially at home. And it's kind of been a trend we've talked about a few times. It's kind of been a trend we've talked about more than a few times, actually. You know, this team really struggles at home. A lot of people seem to think they're just a little too excited. They have a little bit too much emotion and energy. They want to like impress the home crowd maybe a little bit too much. And I've talked about this on a previous episode. The answer is throw pillows and floor mats and just getting comfortable. Find ways to get comfortable. That's the best I could come up with. Anyone else has any ideas? Send them my way. Send them the team's way. But the Islanders game, again, kind of a bummer. I felt like we were going to see something like really magical. We've seen like a few magical instances happen this year for the Utah Hockey Club. I like when stories kind of write themselves. And one of them was that Utah goaltender Connor Ingram was making his first start after returning from an extended absence from the team. Now, I think there are a lot of lessons that we can learn as like human beings from this story, right? So just to kind of refresh your guys' memory on Connor Ingram, he was one of the first names we learned when we learned that the Utah community was going to be welcoming a new NHL team, the former Arizona Coyotes, to town. And around that same time, back in April, they did the NHL awards, and Arizona goalie, now Utah goalie, Connor Ingram was awarded the Masterton Trophy for his perseverance and resiliency. And the story was that he had just battled through a lot of mental health issues and had become, a really effective goaltender in the National Hockey League. So that was one of the best feel-good stories of the year. And then as the season started, they got into playing. Ingram starts the year as the number one goaltender. His play wasn't very good. I don't think that's mean or controversial to say. I think that's just kind of borne out by the facts. I talked about it a few times on the podcast. Statistically, Ingram was kind of poor, and there was a lot of criticism that happened there. I mean, I criticized a bit on the show, and I think a lot of the other hockey outlets did as well. And then come to find out, he's injured. He has to leave the team, so he's away for a bit. He has a rehab start with the Tucson Roadrunners down the American Hockey League. And then he comes back up, and he's back here after being away from the team for over a month. So the part that we didn't know about the story that just came out after Ingram made his return to Utah was that he was dealing with some family issues. Apparently, his mom had gotten pretty sick and had passed away in early November, and that was challenging time for Connor Ingram, and I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination to think that may have affected his play a little bit. So egg on my face, and I think egg on a lot of our faces. I think it's very easy for those of us who sit behind microphones in basements or news stations or write for hockey publications or who work in the media or who are fans of the game. We don't really know what's going on with people. And I think that we don't really know what's going on with like these lives, these athletes. We kind of see them as like people who live outside of like, humanity's emotions and rules. They get paid a lot of money to play a game. I think it's easy to forget that these guys are people. And for me, like that was like a learning moment. And I immediately like felt like very dumb about the criticism that I had left on Ingram. I don't think I said anything that was like mean or cruel or mean spirited. I certainly hope I didn't. But I'm sure some people did. And I think it's just a reminder for all of us. And I'm speaking to myself here that, again, like these guys who have these jobs that are very results driven, that they're in the public eye, they're under a ton of pressure as it is, and they have lives too. Connor Ingram has a family, he has people he loves and cares about, and I am someone who has lost a parent, and it's been hard for me at times to perform at my job and to do the things that I like to do. I think it's a big lesson for all of us in giving others some grace. And I know that's like kind of weird to ask sports fans to do. And, we want our players and our team to do well. But I think that was just something that I learned for me. And so something that I'll try to like maybe keep in mind next time we see a guy who's, not doing too hot on the ice. There's always a story, right? There's always something going on that we really don't know. But again, that was the stage was set for the Islanders game. Ingram made his first start after quite some time, and I thought he had a heck of a game. He allowed only 2 goals. I thought his positioning was really cool, really solid. He plays like a really different game than Karel Vejmelka, and I'm not a goaltending expert. I never played goalie a day in my life. You can tell like Vejmelka really depends on like his athleticism, and he can sprawl. He can get all over the crease anytime. Whereas, as they explained on the Utah Hockey Club broadcast, Ingram plays like a lot more of like a controlled, like anticipatory. I don't even know if that's a word, but a game where he sort of anticipates what the next move is, and he tries to not make as many dramatic moves as possible. I think it's going to be really good for the Utah Hockey Club to have 2 solid goaltenders back and not put as much pressure on Vejmelka, who has been a workhorse, kind of filling in since Ingram's been out. And Vejmelka's been really, really good. We've seen so many instances where he's kept the Utah Hockey Club in games, and even just outright won games for the Utah Hockey Club. And so this comes at a really critical time. The Utah Hockey Club starting to get healthy again. I've heard Sean Dursey is getting back into his rehab, and we've seen John Marino on the ice as well at practice. So some of those issues that we've been talking about, like the injuries on defense, those are being remedied. Nature is healing, and so is the Utah Hockey Club, except for one very important absence, and I'm referring to Dylan Guenther, who was injured on a collision with Alexander Barkov in the Florida Panthers game. Holy hell, that's a bad one to lose at this time. And again, we saw the last 2 games, the Utah's offense has suffered big time. They're now without their leading goal scorer, Dylan Guenther, the man who's the answer to the trivia question, who scored the first goal ever in Utah Hockey Club history. You could argue at times he is maybe their most dangerous weapon in the offensive zone, and he also plays really nice defense as well. So that's a big loss for the Utah Hockey Club. And again, it comes at a really critical time because this gap between where they are now and the last wildcard spot to get into the playoffs, it could widen, it could get smaller. You would hope, on paper, if you were to say like a team is entering this critical juncture of a season with a 7-game homestand, you would say, okay, this is where they can make up some ground. Ooh, boy. Let's see. They've got to do it without their best goal scorer, Dylan Guenther. And as I talked about on to start the show, I'd mentioned this. I have a cookie here. I also have a hot dog, just $1.50. Best deal in the game by far. Comes with a drink, too. Although I don't really like the drinks they have there. I'm not really like super into Pepsi. I've kind of gotten a lot more into Dr. Pepper lately, and I love Dr. Pepper, 0 sugar, strawberries, and cream. So if you guys want to get me any gifts, I know a lot of you guys are like, hey, listen, we $24 for an SLC Puck hat. I don't know if I can swing that, but I do want to support the show. You can support the show by sending some Dr. Pepper, 0 sugar, strawberries, and cream my way. But anyway, what was I saying? I was talking about Dylan Guenther. That's right. So Dylan Guenther, we all know him as the guy who loves Costco. He and Jack McBain very famously talk about how they did this cribs tour on the Utah Hockey Club's YouTube page, and you can just kind of tell that all their furniture comes from Costco because it's sort of just this very neutral gray color that sort of it's non-offensive. It would fit in anyone's home, nice and snuggly. I love it. Those guys are great, and I do love Costco. I believe my friends down in AZ who do the Clean Hits podcast have a Dylan Guenther Costco shirt that they sell. It's kind of a banger. I need to buy one myself, but you should check that one out for yourselves. But I thought to myself, like, just feeling kind of down in the dumps about Dylan. I said, listen, he's a good kid. We're going to have him here for quite a while. He signed an 8-year contract extension in the summer. We know he loves Costco, and I just want to find ways to sort of cheer him up, to sort of let him know that people around here love him and care about him. So what I did today... Guys? It played a little early. What I did today, I went over to the Costco in Bountiful, and I assembled a video of Costco employees and Costco shoppers wishing Dylan Guenther well. And this is on my social media as well. It's at SLC Puck, all together, all the platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. You can find it there, but I'll play it right here for your viewing pleasure as well. So this is what the good folks at Costco had to say to our friend Dylan Guenther in this time of need for him. What's up, guys? It's Austin with SLC Puck. I'm here at one of my favorite places, Costco, and it's also one of Dylan Guenther's favorite places. And as you may have heard, he's been ruled out indefinitely with a little bit of an injury here, so I thought we'd come in and see if we could get some people, some fellow Costco lovers and employees to send their best wishes to Dylan.
Hey Dylan, get feeling better. I'm sorry you're under the weather, but best wishes, feel better, and get back on the road again.
I hope you feel a lot better, Dylan, very soon. Get well.
Dylan, please get well. Life is great and it's a beautiful day out there, so I hope you're going to get well soon to enjoy it.
She was the best.
Best wishes, Dylan Guenther. Hopefully
This guy was wearing a Kyler Yamamoto jersey for some reason.
Get well and watching.
We need you back. We need some goals. Come back. Wish you well.
That was a little hard to hear. They said we need some goals. Get you back.
Hope you get better and come to Costco as soon as you can.
Well, there you have it from everyone here at Costco. Get well soon, Dylan. There you go. And yes, we do wish Dylan well. We're excited to see him get back to full health, and more encouragement headed his way from the good folks who know and love Costco just as much as him. We're a tight-knit community, those of us who love Costco. I think that's kind of the kinship we all share, is a love for items in bulk and hot dogs for less than for 6 quarters you can have. So that's kind of the bond we all share. And so big thanks to everybody who helped out with that video today. Again, you can find that on social media at SLC Puck across the board on social. But we'll see. I mean, again, big loss for the Utah Hockey Club. I think it's just a real pain in the butt. You know what I mean? It's a real snake bite that a lot of these fellas are getting back to full strength, getting back to health, and we lose one of the most important members of the team. What's up with that? Can't we catch a break? You know, golly, it drives me nuts. Oh, well, we'll just have to see how it goes. We can only focus on what's in our control. It's got to have a next man up mentality. We'll see what comes out of it. I think they're going to come up with some creative solutions. I think guys are going to have to understand that they need to step it up. I think you'll see maybe a lot more aggression, a lot more Keller instinct from Clayton Keller. It's a play on Killer Instinct, right? I think you'll see Logan Cooley step it up. He's been great, and a lot more Jack McBain as well. But before we wrap up today's show, I want to hop into the Midseason Awards. We're at 42 games into the season. That puts us past the halfway point. As I said, the Utah Hockey Club's 6th in the Central Division right now. They have a record of 18, 17, and 7, so they're above 500. I'm not really. They have 7 overtime losses, so 18 wins, 24 losses, I guess you could say, but 7 of those coming in overtime, so they still get a point in the standings. But I think, as I said in my blog, I think Utah Hockey Club has been good, not great. I think that's fair to say. But I think there have been a lot of encouraging things, a lot of things to be excited about, a lot of great moments that should be celebrated with a bit of hardware. And when I say hardware, I mean plastic trophies you can get at Walmart, not Costco, for about 6 for $2, I think. So anyway, it's a bigger occasion. I did awards like these at the 1 month mark after the first month of the season. But now we're here at the halfway point. I think that calls for bigger and better trophies. So this was the first month award trophies. This is the second month, right? It's a much bigger deal. So but let's get into the awards for the first half of the season, and just to choose randomly. Oh, look what I have here, guys. Look, check this out. Archie hat. There you go. Archie hat. I know you didn't get one. We got one, though. I think they had very limited quantities at the Utah Hockey Team store. So without further ado, let's get back into the mid-season awards. And I've got just 5 here in front of me. And let's see. Let's choose this one. I think this is the one. It's interesting. This award right here, this is the biggest surprise award. And I don't think it's any surprise to anyone who I'm going to give this award to. There are some nominees, right? I think you could say the biggest surprise, maybe Michael Kesselring, maybe. Or maybe it's Logan Cooley. Well, it's not. It's neither of those guys. I'm going to give this award to Karel Vejmelka. Congratulations, Karel Vejmelka. Again, I mentioned this. He was not a name that was at the tippy top of anybody's list of names we knew, names that we were excited about at the start of this year. But he came on the scene in a really big way. I think he's kept the Utah Hockey Club in a lot of games. He has been one of the better goaltenders in the National Hockey League over the most recent stretch. But I recently learned and I discovered that he's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year. So I think that could be an interesting situation to see what might happen around the trade deadline or what they're going to do in the offseason with Vejmelka. But for now, let's enjoy him while we have him. And I see so many people, by the way, with Vejmelka jerseys when I'm at the Delta Center for Utah Hockey Club games. People love the Veg Man. And as someone who doesn't like vegetables, I think it's fair to say he's won me over somehow. He might be my favorite vegetable. So this goes to you, Karel Vejmelka. Biggest surprise award. No surprise. That goes to you. Next award. Ooh, this is a good one. And while we're talking about Karel Vejmelka, it's the best game award. The best game of the 42 that the Utah Hockey Club has played so far. I might have given it away already by saying, speaking of Karel Vejmelka, but there are other ones that you could talk about, right? Maybe the what do we have here? There was the overtime win over Boston on October 19th. That same month, earlier in the month, was the inaugural game against the Chicago Blackhawks. I was there. That was awesome. I wear my inaugural game shirt all the time. I love it. Other great games were maybe you could do the Montreal game. That was on the anniversary of hockey ever being played. I think it was like maybe the 107th anniversary. It was a big anniversary. And to play against the oldest team in the league and beat them in overtime, that was a great game. That was kind of the Mikhail Sergachev game. He scored the game winner in overtime, threw a fake punch at Brendan Gallagher. That was hilarious, by the way. I don't have a trophy for... you know what? I actually do have a trophy. That's going to win my funniest moment award. I'm just going to give these out so so willy-nilly. Let's give that one the funniest moment award to Mikhail Sergachev for his fake punch on Brendan Gallagher. So there you go. But back to the award I was presenting. Man, this is kind of like free-form jazz here we're doing. The winner of that one is going to be, in my mind, the November 13th win over the Carolina Hurricanes. That was at Delta Center. That was, to me, I was not at that game, and I so badly wish I was. But I was watching that game not far from SLC Puck Studios. I believe it was on a Wednesday night, and so the plan was to turn around an episode as quickly as I could that day. Actually, yeah, it was a Wednesday. Look at that, I nailed that. And I thought the episode was. I went back and watched it. You could tell how excited I was. There was a lot of great things happening in that one. Utah Hockey Club scored, I believe, 3 goals within 2.5 minutes to take a 4-1 lead. And at the same time in the third period, successfully killed like a 9-minute long penalty. So that was the Vejmelka game where he had 49 saves, allowed just 1, faced 50 shots, and only let 1 in. Are you kidding me? That to me was the highlight of the year, games wise, for the Utah Hockey Club. So again, we're giving this award, the best game award, to. I guess we'll give it to Vejmelka. We'll give it to the whole team. They all played great on November 13th against the Hurricanes. So way to go, boys. Congratulations for that. Moving on to another one. We just have 2 more to go here. The Unsung Hero Award. And this one I think you could give to a few folks. But to me, there really is one who stands out in my mind more than anyone else. And he's the Bane Train. He's Jack McBain. He's having a career year. I believe he already has 10 goals this year. I think that might tie or might be pretty close to last year's total over the entire year. So he's been phenomenal. I think his forechecking, his aggressiveness, back-checking, he has a physical presence. He's been in a few fights this year. We saw him drop the gloves against Tom Wilson and the Washington Capitals after he inadvertently injured Alexander Ovechkin. To which Tom Wilson actually said that I respect McBain a lot for doing that. You know, like it was a tough deal. He didn't mean to do it, but he still got to answer the bell. You gotta drop the gloves if you're gonna injure Alexander Ovechkin, intentional or not, and he did. So he got a lot of respect there from one of the heaviest hitters in the National Hockey League. So I think that was pretty cool in itself. The other thing I really like about Jack McBain is he wears this shirt in the locker room that's so weird and just so kind of out there. I'm gonna show you guys what I mean. He wears this under his pads for every game, and it's like this funny like cutoff that he does. It's like a tank top that like clearly was a t-shirt of like 5 seconds before it became a tank top. I love it. I think that's kind of like a fashion statement in itself. I would like to see more people adopt that. If they sold that in the team store, people would buy it with McBain on the back. That would be a huge hit. I think that's something that if I was running the Utah Hockey Club team store that I would put in. And here's the other thing, and I'm trying to say this in like the least weird way possible. He's kind of like a sex symbol, I've noticed on Utah Hockey Club Twitter. The women seem to really like him. And so for all those reasons, I'm giving Jack McBain the unsung hero, because I think he's someone we don't talk about enough on this podcast. I think he does the dirty work. I think true hockey heads really appreciate what he does, what he brings to the team. And so for that, I'm going to give him the Unsung Hero Award. He has so much. He doesn't need more, but he's got my praise, my acclamation. So congratulations to Jack McBain on winning the Unsung Hero Award midway through the season here, the 2024-2025 season for the Utah Hockey Club. But let's get to our final award. And I'm sure this is going to create a bit of a controversy here. Maybe, I hope, right? If you guys disagree with any of my takes at all, if you think I'm stupid, you think I don't know what I'm talking about, fair. Let me know. Call in to the SLC Puck hotline. Again, that number is 919-666-PUCK 7825. So one more time, 919-666-7825. Leave a voicemail, drop a hot take. Tell me I'm stupid. Tell me I've got it right. Tell me I've got it wrong. Here's your midseason MVP. It's not Clayton Keller. It's not Logan Cooley. It's not Schmaltz. It's not Big Nick Energy. And I'm not talking about Nick Bugstad either. The guy I am talking about is the same guy who won team MVP after the first month. It's Mikhail Sergachev. Mikhail Sergachev, I think, has been unbelievably reliable, consistent for the Utah Hockey Club. Guess how many games the Utah Hockey Club's played already this year? 42. Guess how many games Mikhail Sergachev has played in? 42. And he has been all over the ice. Let me just show you guys this screen really quick right here. This is the NHL Players Skating Stats 2024-2025. If you look here, let's sort by who leads the league in time on ice per game. Right under number one, Zach Werenski of the Columbus Blue Jackets is Mikhail Sergachev. He plays more than Cale Makar, Miro Heiskanen, Quinn Hughes, Roman Josi, Seth Jones, all these guys right up there, right under number one, number two, Mikhail Sergachev, and he's been having an unbelievable season. 8 goals, 21 assists for 29 points. Only 18 penalty minutes, too, which is, I think, pretty impressive. But he plays on all 3 units for the Utah Hockey Club. Even strength, power play, penalty kill. Almost 26 minutes per game on ice. That's truly outstanding. He is what me and all the other good folks who follow hockey call a horse. He is an absolute workhorse, and he's won games for the Utah Hockey Club. I think his steady presence, he's a guy who's won. And I talk about this on my on a previous episode. I said, I think you can tell 2 groups on this team. There's guys who have won, and there are guys who have yet to win. And Mikhail Sergachev is a guy who has won. He's won 2 Stanley Cups with Tampa Bay, and I think he understands what it takes to get a team to the next level, what that looks like, what that feels like. A lot of it's being very steady, being very calm. You see it in his demeanor, the way he sits on the bench. I mean, he's so funny because 95% of the time, after he scores a goal or has a big play, he's just very stoic, doesn't do anything. But every once in a while, you'll get a huge reaction out of him. And I think when Mikhail Sergachev is engaged like that, that's when you can tell this team is really having a lot of fun. But they also need a guy who can just keep things on an even keel, understand it's an 82-game long season. He's going to be playing a lot of minutes in those 82 games. So for all those reasons, I'm giving Mikhail Sergachev my mid-season MVP award. One more round of applause for Mr. Sergachev. congratulations to him. And congratulations to all the members of the Utah Hockey Club. I think regardless of how this season shakes out, this has been a very memorable and fun year for me, in particular, for me certainly, and for those of us who know and love hockey and have fallen in love with this team and who see what this could be and are excited about the future. It's really fun to watch. I'm excited for the second half of the season. There will be some challenges, but I think as guys like Connor Ingram have shown us, like, you can get through hard things. You can get through challenges. You can lean on people for support. These guys like each other. That's the one thing I can really tell about this team. I don't think there's any contention whatsoever in this locker room. I'm not aware of it. I think that's something you could not say about Utah Jazz teams of years past, where there was some obvious contention in the locker room. That doesn't exist for the Utah Hockey Club. These guys all like each other. They play for each other. They support each other. They love each other. I think that those are all hallmarks of a team that can grow and become something special. So we'll see how that goes. We'll be back with you guys soon. Wednesday's episode, that'll be a good one because that's the last one before Nashcast. I've got 2 Nashcasts this week with my good buddy Tyson Nash. We have some really good guests, actually. I don't want to totally give it away, but we're expecting some really good guests in person and virtually on Nashcast. So you won't want to miss that. Those broadcasts, altcasts, will be exclusively on SEG Media for the game on Thursday against the Rangers and the game on Saturday against the Blues. So tune in to that. That'll be a lot of fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to SLC Puck, follow on social media, retweet my Dylan Guenther video. Let's get that thing viral, and we'll talk soon. Thanks, guys.